This lesson is on how to simplify expressions using the distributive property. The distributive property says that if I have a number outside parentheses that is being multiplied with numbers inside parentheses, then I can distribute or multiply this number outside parentheses with each number inside parentheses. So I would multiply 2 times 3 and then 2 times a positive 4. Now, when I have an expression with all numbers in it, we just talked about or had a test on order of operations. If I see all numbers, I'm going to use order of operations to evaluate this, which means I would do its inside parentheses first. Where you use the distributive property is mainly when you have variables. So let's just say I put x right here, x, and I'm going to put plus 4. I cannot use order of operations on this because I can't add x and 4 together. They are not like terms. So to simplify this expression, I'm going to use the distributive property, and it says that I take what's outside parentheses and multiply it by each term inside parentheses. So 2 times x equals 2x. And then I multiply the 2 times the positive 4. Be really careful here. Again, when we talked about like terms, we talked about each term holds on to that operator or sign in front of it. So it's 2 times positive 4. That gives me positive 8. Since my answer is positive, I put a plus sign between these, plus 8. And this is as far as I can go. I have simplified this expression here into this, 2x plus 8. I cannot add these two terms together because they are not like terms. Okay, so this first example here, we have a 3 outside parentheses, and I have to multiply it with each term inside parentheses. When I think of distributive property, I think of like Halloween, when you're handing out candy at the door, you distribute that candy to each person at the door. So, or almost like the mailman, he's distributing the mail to each person, each person's mailbox. So this 3 is going to do the same thing. The first thing I multiply is 3 times 2x. When I multiply the 3 with this term that has an x, I'm basically just multiplying this 3 with the coefficient in front, this number in front of x. So 3 times 2 is 6, and I keep the x. So this gives me 6x. Then I have to multiply the 3 times the 5. Notice how the box includes the plus sign here. This is a positive 5. 3 times a positive 5 gives me a positive 15. Therefore, I put a plus here, plus 15. The sign that I get when I multiply these two terms together tells me what operator I'm putting here, whether it's plus or minus. And this here is the simplest form of this the simplified form of this expression, since we can't combine 6x and 15. They're not like terms. They don't have the same last name. All right, the same thing with the next one. Negative 2 times positive 4x. I multiply the negative 2 and the 4, which gives me a negative 8x. Remember to keep the x when you're multiplying those two together. Next, I'll multiply the negative 2 times a negative 2. There's a minus sign in front of this 2, so that's going to be a negative 2 when multiplying. It's negative 2 times negative 2. Remember, I'm multiplying these. I'm not adding or subtracting them. These parentheses right here say that I'm multiplying this with this term here. In my calculator, I would press negative 2 times negative 2. That gives me a positive 4. Therefore, I'm going to put plus 4 here. The positive 4 tells me there is a plus sign here. In the next example, I have negative 4 times an x. Remember, if I see just one variable, there's a number in front of it. It is a 1 in front of this x. So it's negative 4 times 1. That gives me negative 4x. Then negative 4 times a positive 8 gives me a negative 32. So that negative in front of the 32 tells me I'm going to put a minus sign here. And it's going to be written as minus 32 here. And that is the simplified form of this expression here. The next one is negative 6 times everything in parentheses. Negative 6 times x. Remember there's a 1 in front of this x, so it's negative 6 times 1. I get negative 6x. Then I multiply negative 6 times a negative 3. Remember, I take that sign in front of the 3. A negative times a negative gives me a positive, so it's a positive 18. Therefore, there's going to be a plus sign here since it's a positive 18. This one, I multiply 3 times the first term, 5x. 3 times 5 is 15, so I get 15x. Then I multiply 3 with the next term, which is a negative 9. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27, so I write that as a minus 27 here. And this is the simplified form of this expression. Last one, negative 7 times negative 2x gives me a positive 14x. Negative 7 times a positive 4, my answer is a negative 28. That's going to be written as minus 28 since it's negative.